Hello everybody, my name is Connor, and we are here with another BOA game. We are against a Bonney. They did go first. They end up playing the Bonney Searcher and passing, and we top deck our Sengoku, and we are looking for something, and trying to remember what I have in hand. My hand is pretty good. It's probably one of the best starting hands I've seen, or I saw this night, which is great, because Bonney scares me. So I do decide to take the Gecko that can buy back, or not buy back, but gain Warlord's characters out of trash. My opponent then does his Bonney search, and he is searching. He ends up grabbing Cavendish and bottom decking the rest. And with his other two Dawn, I think he ends up playing another Searcher. Sorry about the glare on my leader. That is an atrocious glare. But yeah, check out the playmat. If you guys have missed it, the playmat is... I'm so happy with the way this playmat turned out. I designed it myself. So if you like it, there is a link to my shop down below. I don't have any more physical mats, but I do have the digital file for sale. So he plays out Baby 5, and he swings 5, and I'm feeling okay to take this. I don't really want to use any of the counter I have in my hand to get out of a 5k swing. And he passes turn. I end up getting the 10 cost Kaido, the bounce Kaido, which, shout out to my friend Isaac. He really helped me tweak my deck list and kind of understand a bit more about playing the game. So happy with those, but I kind of misplay here. I do swing the 2k. I didn't notice the Dawn up. I thought he played Baby 5, and in my head I was like, he's searching. Okay, no Dawn up. So I swing 2k into Sengoku, and he uses the Dawn to rest lead, and I'm like, oh god. If he had a 2k in his hand, that would have been not good, honestly. But my opponent did end up, we did after the game talk about the hand, and it's pretty bricked up, unfortunately for him. Great for me. But we tap 4, we play Jinbei, Jinbei into Crocodile, and I didn't want to play the Gecko because I didn't have anything to buy back, and my only other option was Croc. I didn't have the Dawn to play or use Croc ability, but I figured it's another 5k body on board. Why not? He goes 5 into lead, and I do end up taking it. I get a Weevil, and I'm kind of low on counter, which has me a little worried. He plays out Cavendish and then searches with Baby 5 with the Dawn that he gets up from playing Cavendish, which is great. I think Cavendish is a really great card. I hate that it's in the Bonney deck, but he does end up whiffing the Baby 5 search, which is unfortunate. So we are at 6 Dawn, and my thought process here is I'm not worried about Baby 5. I am dropping one of my boas, so I'm just kind of going to swing into life. I know he's going to rest one of my characters. He ends up resting Croc. So I'm just kind of applying a lot of pressure by swinging 5s. He ends up taking the Jinbei hit and getting more cards in hand. I swing another 5 with my lead just to see what he wants to do. And as I mentioned, he does have the Luffy, I think that was the 5 cost Luffy, and 1k counters out. I end up playing Boa. Of course, I play my 1 Altart. Shout out to my buddy Gecko. And I freeze the Cavendish and I bottom deck the Baby 5. I don't get Boa ability because I have too many cards in hand, but I wasn't worried about dealing with Baby 5. I think Boa took care of that perfectly, and now he doesn't really have any other option but to swing with lead. And that is something I could, in theory, counter out of if I want. But he swings 5 into Jinbei, and I think about keeping Jinbei up for the pressure, but I decide to let Jinbei go just because I don't really have the counter to keep him up. So my opponent then plays out the Basil Hawkins and pass turn, and we can see he has 1 Dawn up. So we're at 8 Dawn, and I know he's going to rest one of my characters. And that's fine because I have, as you guys can see, I have Gravity Blade. So I need to get all my characters arrested so I can Gravity Blade the Basil Hawkins. So I swing 8. He ends up arresting Crocodile again, which, my poor Croc, I don't think he got to do... I think he just kept getting arrested. But yeah, so I swing 8 into lead with Boa. And he takes. And then I swing 5 with my other Boa. Kind of confusing that I have Boa and then Boa. And he ends up blocking with Basil Hawkins. And I'm trying to figure out how to rest Sengoku. And then I'm like, well, 2 with Sengoku. And, you know, nothing happens. But because of it, I'm able to Gravity Blade. All my characters are rested. I'm able to Gravity Blade and send both his bodies to the bottom, which is great. I'm pretty sure I still have too many cards in hand to benefit from Boa ability. And I guess I could have swung 6 with Boa lead, but unfortunately didn't. I had some trouble doing Dawn math today. So my opponent's at 9 Dawn, which I'm holding my gravity, or not my gravity, my Red Rock for the 9 cost Zoro. I am terrified of that. I think if it comes out, I just lose. It's kind of how my experience has been. On the sim especially, I've been playing ranked sim with Boa on my Twitch stream. Go check out, the link is down below if you want to hang out with me. I'm still working on a schedule, but I definitely have been having a lot of fun with that. He goes 5 into Croc, and I think I end up using a pudding to counter out of it, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I've just been getting... I had this Yamato on the ropes, and then 9 drop Zoro came out and couldn't find a Red Rock, and I got smoked. So that's definitely what I'm worried about most in this Bonney matchup. So my opponent ends up tapping 8 and dropping, I believe, the Rosinante. Yeah, so he just drops Rosinante. He did tell me, I think I mentioned earlier, his hand was super bricked. He had 2 10 drops, 1 9 cost Zoro, and 2 Hodies, I think was like basically his hand. And I think I got really lucky, and I kind of just had everything I needed to deal with. I just got what I needed. Like, this is Heart of the Cards, baby. So I swing 8 at lead, suspecting that he'll rest Croc, which he does. Poor Croc. And he takes, and I'm sorry about the camera moving. I was having a little trouble with my camera tonight. 5, he counters out, and I end up dropping my bounce Kaido. My thought process here was that I guess technically I could have bounced Sengoku back to my hand, which would have... actually, that probably would have been pretty nice, but I didn't think about that. I always forget that I can split, and I can bounce one of his characters or one of my characters, but it seemed like the perfect opportunity to play Bounce Kaido, and I'm usually pretty worried about playing Bounce Kaido. So, you know, he had dropped that, and he obviously had nothing, like, to my knowledge, he had nothing else. And he had little counter in his hand, so I did end up bouncing the counterless card back to his hand, something he spent his entire turn doing. So, is, you know, playing the Dawn to bounce that, and now I send it back to his hand and establish a really big body. And that's something my friend Isaac told me when he was helping me learn the game a bit better, and I think it did help out a lot. But he ends up playing 10 drop Dofi and freezing 3 of my characters. So I end up tapping 4 to play Pudding. And I think ultimately, like, his hand was pretty bricked. Of course, I didn't know that at the time. I know we were talking after the game, and he was like, "Oh, I was begging for you to pudding me earlier." But I kind of held off on the pudding. I don't know. That's an verb now. But yeah, so he shuffled his hand back in his deck, and I am trying very hard not to bump my camera and not to show too much skin, ooh-woo. But he draws 5 new cards, and we end up... I'm trying to decide what I want to play. I'm hoping at this point that if he had 9-cost Zoro, it's gone. I'm also worried about the potential of me putting 9-cost Zoro into his hand. So I bump my camera like a silly goose, and I tap 6, and I end up playing another Boa, which I decide to send Pudding back, and I bottom deck Sengoku, freezing Dofi, and I am able to draw, and we get a Jinbei, which is its counter, so that's nice. And then I go 12 into life, figuring that he can't counter out of the 12, and since I played Boa and stunned Dofi, he can't swing into my Kaido. I mean, he'd have to establish a lot and swing lead. So, you know, he'd have to swing a good amount into it with lead, which would kind of negate his entire turn. So, pretty pleased with this play. I mean, I just feel like I had every answer to his board and his, you know, just I think I was pretty lucky, but I also feel like I did play fairly well, or I am playing fairly well. But yeah, so he's sorting out his Dawn, trying to figure out what he wants to do with that brand new hand. And I keep forgetting to take my dog's collar off when I do voiceovers. So, you know, if you hear him, go ahead and type "Hi Yoshi" in the comments. He's a cute little dog. But my opponent, back to the game. That's what you guys are here for, not for my cute dog. My opponent plays out the Jewelry Bonney Searcher and searches, or gets the Bonney character, which freezes a character or a Dawn, if I'm not mistaken. And he goes 5 into Croc, and I'm trying to think about if I want to. I'm trying to count how much Dawn he has, and I'm trying to think about if I want to save Croc just to apply more pressure, and I do decide to let it go. I think I probably could have countered out with Sengoku there. So he freezes Kaido, and ends up playing the Rosinante blocker as well. So his board is looking a little scary. We get a 0-cost event, which is nice. Weevil has no counter, which I feel like really hurts. I was running Weevil at 4 originally, but I've dropped him down to 2, and I think that that's a better number. I know last tournament I didn't see any Weevils, but today I saw enough. I saw enough Weevils today. So I'm trying to think about what I want to do. I'm really contemplating red rocking the 10-drop Dofi, especially now that my Kaido's arrested. I go 8 into life. He rests my other Boa, which is understandable. And he ends up blocking, which I feel like should have been a tell that he doesn't have too much in hand. I feel like the Pudding definitely hurt. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. I was kind of hoping to bluff like I had another 10 drop, but I swing 5 into the Bonney Searcher, and then you go ahead and let it go. And I think in my thought process is I can apply enough pressure next turn that even if he does drop 9 Zoro, it won't help him too much. So I go play Jinbei into Weevil, hoping for more counter, and I do get a 0-cost event. And then I red rock the Dofi, and I get another Weevil. So I'm like, okay, cool. I have something to use a 0-cost event with if I need to. So just kind of managing his board. His hand is looking a little fuller, but not as full as it once was, I feel. So yeah, my board is definitely looking pretty scary. He is definitely going to have to take care of some of it. And I'm thinking, depending on what he does this turn, I'm going for game next turn. It just kind of depends on what he drops. He ends up dropping another Cavendish, which is kind of unfortunate, but you know. I always thought, for some reason when the set first released, I thought Cavendish was a blocker. And it restood to Don. That would be crazy. I'm glad it's not. But he drops the Cavendish, and he ends up swinging. I'm pretty sure he ends up swinging 14 at Bonney, or Boa, if I'm not mistaken, with Bonney. And you can see I'm trying to do math, which is hard. And I really don't want to let Boa go, especially because he swung into the pretty Boa. But I just feel like it's not worth. So he ends up swinging 5 into life. I counter out. I draw. We get Croc. That's fine. I'm pretty sure I've got game. So I swing 12 first. Usually I would swing smaller first, but I know he's gonna rest something. So he ends up taking the life, and I'm trying to do math, which is so hard for me. And part of me's thinking I should just poke pretty small and then swing big, because that'll get a couple counters out of his hand. Because I'm trying to do the math, and it's not mathing. My math is not mathing. So I swing 5. He 1Ks out. And I'm thinking about swinging 7 with Boa. But I end up just swinging 5, and my thought process is if he counters out of this, he's not getting out of 16k. And he just has 3 2Ks in hand. So pretty solid game for me. I didn't turn my life over on camera. I've been trying to remember to do that because I like to see. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know if it was a combination of my opponent had a really rough start or that I played as well as I think I played. But I was really stoked, first game of the tournament, and really stoked to come out with this win. And I felt really confident on my deck, and I felt just really good, you know. So yeah, that is the game. Of course, let me know what you guys think and all of that good stuff. As usual, I feel pretty good, but you know, maybe there were some better plays I could have made. Definitely interested in what you guys think. You guys are awesome. I've been absolutely thrilled with the engagement lately. Thank you guys so much. And yeah, that will do it for me. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you could ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.